All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fireside Chat number 196. I don't know that there's hardly anything to go over this time around, actually. I think pretty much everything was provided before. I'll shout out the streams channel once again. Again, anyone in WA who streams on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, hit me up and I can list you in there. And basically, you can check that out. It's the streams channel under WAS Vigilant 2. And that lists kind of information on all of the WA streamers that we have, schedules, what games they play, etc. Provided that I have that information. So if you're in there and you'd like to provide more information than just the links that are there, if you want me to put some graphics in there or anything like that, do let me know so I can add that and we can kind of spruce things up. And if you're not listed in there, let me know and we can add you. Okay, other than that, I don't think too much. Let me look over my job board channel. I know I was talking to Conolf and Kusiak, I believe, recently about some stuff. Oh yeah, potentially talking about some of the rank requirements, and I think one thing, and Connor's talked to me about this before, and I think it's a fair point as far as the rank requirements just being strictly time gated. Now, we did get rid of the time gates for the higher officer ranks a while back, which I think is a good idea because it makes a lot of sense to just, I mean, for officers, we're not really looking for just like auto promotion every month. We're looking for people that, want the job and that we think can succeed at it. So it's more based on that evaluation rather than just, oh, it's been a month, so here you go, here's the job. But we do still have that for the lower ranks, and I think in conjunction with that, we're also talking about the registration for registering, the requirement for registering on the forums, which obviously is something I've been in favor of a lot. I've thought about it in the past. It's been brought up to me before by Ulf and others. I think that I mean I understand the criticisms of it. We don't really use the forums much, so the registration requirement is kind of interesting. I think what I've been thinking about, and we'll probably talk about this more in all thing and such in the future, but potentially moving that forum registration requirement to something like becoming an officer, I think makes a lot more sense. Or even just moving it up to a somewhat higher rank, like even chief petty officer, I think might be decent. Just because it's supposed to be, I mean, that's kind of where all our stories and stuff are. I have loaded them all up on Discord, but I think it's easier to look at them on the forums, easier to access them. That's kind of their primary location, basically. So that's something we're going to talk about too. And in addition, yeah, rather than time requirements for some of the lower ranks, potentially looking at other things. For example, to make Marine, I think filling out the Marine quiz is one thing. We already have that, so I was just trying to think about, and this was suggested to me, just actions or requirements that people can fulfill that are not just X amount of time. Because it does feel bad, and I do think maybe people run out of steam a little bit. If we do get those people who join up and they're super excited right away sometimes, and they kind of have to wait a month, yes, there is the asterisk of if a person is exceptional, like exceptional recruits can get promoted in Marine early. It's not going to happen very often, and generally, and this is not a criticism, but just something I've observed. Generally, people don't like when there's that kind of special requirement, like, oh, if they're exceptional, then they get the promoted. People hesitate to make use of that criteria. Like most officers are not going to promote lots of people early because they think exceptional. Okay, I'm gonna err on the side of caution and not just promote a bunch of people that I think are exceptional. I'm gonna maybe think about it for like one really really special person. So essentially, what I mean is that that requirement does not get used a lot. So I think it would make more sense to look at changing the time requirements to some type of things that people like, other things that people can do, they can fulfill. Whether that means like filling out a Google form kind of thing, like the Marine quiz, or something else, something simple like just showing up to events. Um, Stuff like that, I think does make more sense to me after some thought. So I think that's probably something we will look at. So again, my hope is that this isn't tumultuous changes that is shocking the system or anybody involved in it, but um, I do think it would be cool just because it kind of fits with something that I've wanted for a while, which is trying to recapture a little bit of, and this could be rose tinted glasses, but recapture a little bit of the magic of like the early Third Fleet era WA that I remember, wherein there was something about being promoted just kind of randomly based on what you did that I think worked really well. It felt cool. It was unexpected, but in a good way. But it also felt like it worked fairly well, at least for a while. Like it wasn't like people were getting promoted for nothing. People were getting promoted with some relatively good reason most of the time. Maybe sometimes too quickly, but I think generally there were some nice benefits to that system. So I do think that perhaps if we do utilize like specific requirements or actions people have to do or fulfill to get promoted, rather than just the strict time gates, that probably is the best of both worlds in that it does give us structure so you know when somebody should be promoted and when they shouldn't. Because I that's one thing I've been trying to avoid, and I know I've wound up doing this a lot is with our rank requirements is they wind up being kind of unstructured or just very unspecific, and you don't really know, okay, what's the difference between a master gunner and a gunner? I guess just time. Like there's not really a strict difference, and I can write some flowery description in the rule book, but that doesn't necessarily give people the cut and dry definition that would be more efficient. So I think that if we can, put some of those requirements in that are much more specific, then we know everyone knows how to move up rank. Officers know how and when to promote people and when not to. And the ranks are differentiated more. And that's something we've been trying to do with the platoon rollout that's coming up too. So I think it actually fits together pretty well. Because, what we're trying to do is basically have captain and commander run divisions, lieutenants and run platoons, and yeah, like master chief petty officers running rough platoons, etc., that kind of thing. So, and we're gonna have to, it's gonna be a little bit weird because we're gonna have people who are higher ranked still, running platoons and such, just based on the situation currently. But I think, yeah, I think it makes sense to try to translate some of those time requirements to regular requirements or action requirements of some kind. So I'm open to ideas on all of that, but that's something that we're going to discuss as well in the future. That we'll probably look to get prepped and maybe set up before we roll out platoons, which, wow, is really coming up on us. Actually, the plan, again, is May 1st on that, so not that far away. Okay, I'm going to be hanging out for office hours in the meantime. Oh, actually, before I sign off, yeah, sorry, I wasn't looking at chat. Kusiag, hello. Sound. Maybe that was, yeah, sorry. So I was typing, so maybe I was silent for a long time. Something like tuning exams, glorified field trip, game day, or something very visible to motivate lower ranks. Yeah, I do really like that in theory. Yes, I like that idea. I think my one concern is going to be, is this going to be something that, well, it's going to be like, we'll have to figure out, we'd have to figure out logistics. How often, what is it, what they have to do. Is it something we'd actually be able to get people to participate in easily? I think would be my one concern, depending on what rank this was for. But I like that idea though. Yeah, I think we should brainstorm it further. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna sign off for the time being. Be on for office hours. Otherwise, see people next week for Fireside. Once again,